Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. Listen, today I'm going to show you how easy it is to use Silhouette Studio for your Cricut machine. So you'll need the business edition, but listen, I'm going to show you how to add these beautiful offsets onto these things and design this card and then send it to my Cricut. I have a Cricut Explore Air 2, and I'm going to cut it there so you can see, yes, indeed, you can use this software so easily when you use a Digi Stamp. Now, this Digi Stamp came from DigiDoodleStudios.com, and I really think it's super cute, and the words came from there too, the sentiment, as well as the Digi paper. So follow me to my screen and let's get busy. Okay, I'll have the link for this DigiDoodle set down below, but by the way, I'm not affiliated with them. I just like Dina's stamps. So I make no commission if you purchase through her. I just really appreciate it if you do because she makes really cute stuff. But anyway, what I've done is I've already downloaded it and I've already extracted it because it was a zipped file. These are the extracted files. This right here, this PDF is very important because it explains the rules to you. But now in the meantime, what I'm going to do is just drag these things over here one by one. I'll just put them all over here for now. And chicken 1, chicken 2, chicken 3. Aren't they cute? I just think they're adorable. Put the egg, I might as well. And all of these sentiments. Whoops. One at a time. And the feet. Your poultry in motion. And the rooster. And the hen house. And the fence. Okay. So I think I've got it all over there so I can X this out now. And the reason why I brought it all over here was I wanted to show you how quickly you can do single one of these stamps and have them on a whole sheet and save them like that, and then come back and cut them later after you've colored them if you like coloring them on the full sheet. So what I would do now is I would come over here to my page setup and make sure I have show print and show cut borders selected here. And then I'll also go to the third icon over, which is the registration marks, and I'll toggle this switch to put them on. And now I'll know that I have to fit all of these things inside of those registration marks. Now you might see that I'm going to have to mess with these a little bit because I'm going to add the offset on all of these at one time, and I don't want them overlapping at all, or the offsets won't work properly. And if it happens, you'll see what I'm talking about. They'll get like hooked together, and I don't want that to happen. So there we go. Those are all ready to go. So now I can just highlight every single one of them and come over here to the offset panel and say offset. And usually on mine, I like to make it about a 0.05 for my little guys like this and hit enter. Okay, and my offsets are ready, except for that on text or on the fonts, I like to change something. Let's look down here, your poultry in motion. Check this out. You see all those little extra cuts that are going to cut out? I don't want those to cut. So I'm going to drag this off of here, and I'm going to go click on this and say Object, Release the Compound Path, and that's going to put check marks around everything or most of them. Didn't around this for some reason. And then I'm just going to right click and say weld. So that got rid of some of them. So these others then, I'll just double click to get the nodes. And I see what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to make that touch and this come up here. Whoops, this come up, or that touch there a little bit. Okay, and this touch here a little bit. And a little bit. Okay, so let's bring this back and make sure it's going to fit in there properly. Pretty good. Just about. I might need to move. Let's see. Might need to move this little bit down a little bit. Like that. Just as long as it touches a little bit. But what I could actually do is double click on this and just make those guys touch like that. See what I'm doing? Just clicking on the nodes and making them touch. Okay, now I'm going to move this part out again. And once again, I will say Object, Release the Compound Path. And now it's going to get the other little items too. So now I'll just say weld. All right, got mostly everything. There's a few pieces in here that I don't want to cut, like right here. So I can double click on this. I get the nodes, just hit delete on my keyboard to delete them. So you notice what I'm talking about. These little pieces right here, if I zoom way in, you'll see, are going to be cuts. They're going to cut that out of the cardstock. I don't need that little thing cut. So I can just double click on this to get the nodes and delete them. And once one of the nodes turns white, it's editable. And that means I can delete it like that. Okay, let's see if there's any more internal ones like that. Okay, the other thing is I may not want all of this to cut out like this. So what I can do then is I can actually hold down my shift key and drag over a bunch of these at once and say delete, and do it again over here and say delete, and you're going to see what's happening in just a sec. All right, so let's scroll back out and bring back in our font, and you'll see it really won't matter that I got rid of all that stuff in there. I don't need that to cut. Same as like right here where I'm pointing. I don't need all of that to cut out for this to look good. So again, I'm going to double click to get the nodes, hold down my shift key, and drag here to get rid of a bunch and say delete. Hold down my shift key and grab a bunch of these and say delete. And you'll just have to learn and practice with this a little bit. You'll get the hang of it though. And watch now when I come in here. So you can see now what's going to cut is basically just around this. And if you want to, you can get rid of this part right here. Again, there's two ways. You can double click till you get a white node. That means you can edit it, and that means I can delete it. Or I could hold down my shift key and get a bunch at the same time. All right, so that's what I would probably do. Then I would group this together like that, and that's done. Let's scroll back out. I know there's some more text in here. Let's see if this needs something done to it. Scroll into it. Yep, you see all those little holes? Again, if I just take this off, since this is all connected, you see that? I can just grab this thing and say Object, release the compound path, and then just right click on it and say Weld. And that gets rid of all of those cuts. Again, there's this cut up here. You see where that is right there. I don't feel like I really need that. So I'm going to double click to get the nodes back. Oops. And again, I can either click on one to make it the active node and then start deleting on my keyboard, or hold down my shift key and get a bunch of them at once. And I can delete these too if I want to. Okay, let's see. Anything else? Maybe these. And this is just a choice that you can make. You know, what do you want to delete? How much detail do you want in your offset? Okay. So let's look and see how that's going to look now when we bring this up here. And that's good. You're feeling foul. Oh, okay, that's cute. I would just group this again. Okay, let's see, what else do we have? Scroll back out. So this one we fixed, and this one we fixed. Are there any other sentiments that need to be fixed? We can come here if you want to and get rid of this center part of this fence, because we don't really need that to cut out. And I don't need to cut quite so high there. So I'm just choosing a node, making it active, making it white, and then deleting it. Getting another node, delete, another node, delete. So I can scroll in so I can see more clearly. So that looks pretty good. And again, if I want to, I could come up here and do the same thing, but maybe you want it to be a little bit like this. Could just delete these two if I want, or even spread these further apart so it doesn't come down to quite a point. Like that. Okay, that looks good to me. So I'll grab both of these now and say group. Scroll back out. Let's see, what else do we have. Chicken looks okay. I'm going to look at the pail to make sure it's okay. So I'm going to scroll in. Yep, it looks fine. Okay, so we're ready to go. But what I'm going to do now Like I said, I put all these offsets on here and I said I'm going to use it in Cricut Design Space, right? So in order to use it in Cricut Design Space, what I really need to do, if I was using this, let me show you first in for Silhouette. Just go to Send, and notice everything has double lines around it. We don't want all that stuff to cut. So I would grab it all and just say Cut Edge. And now it should be cutting the edge of everything, but look, this It's Your Birthday thing, I didn't fix that yet. Otherwise, everything's good. So let me go back and fix that before we even think of taking it to Design Space. So notice It's Your Birthday has a lot of stuff also. Now, what I could have done on this one, let's see. Well, I could make these overlap just a little bit by getting a node and dragging it over and making it touch this other offset, because that's going to allow me to do what I need to do. Okay, so now that that's all connected, I can take this part out, and now what I'll do is I'm going to say Object, release the compound path. That's going to put the little marks around everything. Then I'm going to say right click and weld. And that welded it all together. Now there are a few here that I might want to get rid of, as I did before. Make one the active node by double clicking on it. It turns white, and just hit delete on my keyboard. And that's probably good, just like that. So I'll bring this back down. And if I want to, I could grab both of these and come up here and say center. And it centers it perfectly. And then I can group. All right, so now we're ready to go. Again, I'll show you if I took this to Silhouette or to Cameo or my portrait and I say cut edge, it's going to cut just around the edges of everything, just like that. There is one thing I noticed. Did you notice also that in the word It's Your Birthday, it went way up in that little crevice? Probably doesn't need to do that. So I'm going to ungroup this real quick, double click, get the nodes, and just delete some of these. Whoop, not that far. So notice it automatically goes to the next node. Be careful of where it's going, because see, this is going to delete this node and I don't want it to delete that one. So I'm going to automatically choose the node I want it to delete, which is this one, and then this one. And you'll learn this also as time goes by. Okay, that's perfect. And now I'm just going to group it. And again, if we go back one last time to Silhouette, you can see now that it's just going to go like that perfectly. Okay, but I promised you we were going to do Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to save this to Cricut Design Space, open it there, and print it and cut it with my Cricut Explore Air 2. Let's scroll out. So for Cricut now, I'm just going to want to space these apart. Oopsie. I want to make sure that they're grouped together, each one. I can hit Control G on my keyboard to group it. Each one Control G to make sure it's a group. What I'm doing is spacing these, oh dear, far enough apart so that if I need to, when I'm over in Cricut Design Space, I can add boxes around them to slice, okay? So I want to make sure I leave these far enough apart. So I want to make sure everything's grouped, the offset and the image. I'm just highlighting both and doing Control on my keyboard and G. And the nice thing, as I've said before, about using these Digi Stamps is you can make them any size you want to over there in Cricut Design Space or anything. Group. And group. One more. And group. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll out a little bit, and let's make sure they're far enough apart so we can draw boxes around them if we need to. So what I'm going to do now is just draw a great big box around everything because I want to select it all. Then I'm going to go to File, Save Selection. If I don't save the selection, all it will do is save what's on my mat. I want to save everything I've selected. Save selection, save it to hard drive, and I think the darn, Gossip Chicks or something like that it's called, or Cluckers is the name of the digi paper that goes with this, but I'll just name it Cluckers for Cricut, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG. And now I'm going to change its dots per inch to 150 and say save. Now the other thing I could have done was I could have put this size, the width of the whole thing in part of my title in case I made these an exact size I wanted them to be here. But since it doesn't really matter, I don't have to keep track of that width. So when I go to Cricut Design Space, it opens, perfectly the way I had it here. So I'm going to open up Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to open up that file that I just completed for it. So I'm going to go to New Project, Upload an image, Browse, and I'm going to go to, let's see, Cluckers for Cricut, right here, Open, and there they are, right? So I'm going to say Complex and Continue. And now I want to click on here to get rid of everything and leave the offsets. So I'm looking to see, are my nice white offsets staying around all of my images? And it looks like they are beautifully. Now occasionally I have a where it doesn't. And I've taught you before, if it doesn't, to say undo, and then change your advanced options and change your color tolerance to 8. But this time we didn't have to do it. It worked perfectly. So I'm going to say continue. I'm going to save as a print then cut. Save. And I'm going to click on this to insert it. And it's probably going to come in huge. So let's see, it is pretty big. But let's just scroll out. And begin just breaking this up into manageable pieces. So I'm going to get a shape, a square, and I'm going to make that square the size that I can pretty much do a print then cut in Cricut Design Space. And as you probably know, I'm going to unlock the lock, and that size is 6.75 wide by 9.25 tall. Now I'm going to see what I can fit in here, how many of these I'm going to have to make. So let's see, if I twirl this, I can get those 3 images, I think. Yeah. So I'm just going to duplicate this a bunch of times. So I have a bunch, so I don't have to keep making that size. And matter of fact, what I can do is just start figuring out where I can go. There. Okay, I can put one there. I can put one there. And I can turn one and put it here. So I have a couple extra ones here. I think I'll just leave them for now. So what I'm going to do is grab this one and what's underneath and say slice. So that let me slice out those images that I needed, and I can get rid of this stuff. Now I have these. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing with these guys. Grab those 2 and slice. So now I can get rid of that, and now I have this set. And I can get rid of this. This might look a little confusing to you because you're probably not used to seeing 3 done at the same time. But now I'm going to grab these 2 things and slice. And see, if you look over here in the layers panel, I only have 2 things selected. 2 and only 2 things. And that's the only way you can slice, is if you have 2 and only 2. So there's some more. And I can get rid of this stuff. Delete. Okay, let's do these 2. Slice. And get rid of this. And the last one, slice and get rid of this. So let's see. Now let's see if we can add any of these together in a box so that we can do more things on one sheet. Because I wasn't sure how I could put them over there in Silhouette for this. Let's see if this will fit. No. Okay, that much stuff won't fit. So what should we get rid of? Oh, that's something I forgot to get rid of before. So let's see. We can put this here. This is probably better to work on top, right? And these here. And okay, we'll just do those two together for now. If I wanted to, and I was really concerned about saving paper, I could slice these things again. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and these two, I'm going to flatten. Okay. Now let's see what else we can do. We can get this group. Oh boy, let's see. How did that one fit on one page? So remember, this has to be less than. I'm not sure how I did that one. This one works. And this one will work on a page. Barely, but it will. So what I'm going to do then, watch this, you guys. I am going to use another box, the shape tool. Get another box. And I'm just going to slice that out. Slice. So that's going to allow me to take the word "It's Your Birthday" and stick it on this page with these. And get another shape, a box, and put it on this chick and slice. Okay, and then put this one on here. And maybe these guys will fit. Yep, so looky there, I can get all of that to fit there. So what I'll do now is just move this and group all this together. And just say flatten. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we'll need 3 pages, I believe. So now I can get rid of this box. I don't need it in this one. And we can just go to Make It. So I'll need 3 different sheets to cut these out. And like I said, I could mess longer with that, but I don't really want to. I'm going to go to Continue. Send to Printer. And I'm going to print this. And after that prints, I'm going to cut it. Okay, I have my paper that I've printed on my printer stuck inside or stuck on my mat. It's a little crooked. I better fix it before I hit go. But I'm going to hit go and it should read the registration marks and cut these out. As I said, I could have put a lot more things together. It didn't need to be this much open space. But I didn't want to waste any more of your time on the video. Okay, as you can see, I cut these all out. I'm using a mat that's probably a little bit too sticky, but they turned out beautifully. And now what I could have done first was just saved it and colored these first and then cut them out. Or do it like this if you like. Cut and then color them. But I think this is a super way to be able to inexpensively do cards, especially if you like stamps and you're finding it's really hard to purchase all these stamps and the cutting dies. It's a little tough right now. Money's kind of tight. So if money is tight in your area too, now what you've done is, rather than buying one stamp and then buying the die to go around it to cut it, you bought one digi set, and with this digi set you can make these guys this big, or you can make them that big and not have to get another kind of a die, if you could ever even find one that would be that big. So then you could just get out your markers or your pencils if you use Prismacolor or any kind of Crayola, whatever, and just start coloring these and blending them and shading them and making them into a super card. This is one of the ones I made. You might be able to see that there's a texture on this because I did run it through my Cuttlebug, or maybe I used my Big Shot. This one I pop dotted him up a little bit so it would look a little bit more dimensional, and then I used her digi paper that Dina makes that went with this. And also I could have put another piece of colored cardstock behind these sentiments, because I think a lot of times that really makes it pop up nicely. But I'm pleased with how this turned out. I could have added a fence somewhere. I could have, there's so many things. I could have had her in a nest. I could have had an egg rolling out the door. There's just a lot that you can do with these. So anyway, I hope you like this video, and I hope it proves to you that yes, you can add offsets to digi stamps and cut them with your Cricut machine. You can design in silhouette any way you want. Let's go back over there for one more second. Okay. So here's what we made, right? And we made these and we cut them out at this size. But as I said, I could make this thing this big. Now with your regular stamps you buy, you can't change the size of the stamp. It's whatever size it is. I could make a card this size. If I wanted to, what I could do is this. I could take this card, I'll ungroup it, and what I'm going to do is take this part off, because I'm going to duplicate this one. Watch this trick. I'm going to duplicate it to, well, maybe it's too large to do that. Let me try it. I'll make it, let's put these two together, and I'm going to make them a little bit smaller like that. Now I'll take this off, and I'm going to duplicate this one. And I'm going to come over here to the replicate panel, and I'm going to mirror it to the left. And then I'm going to make it so these two pieces just barely overlap, because then I'm going to grab both and say weld. So now what we have is a card that's shaped that we can fold right here. And I believe if I take this over here, I can put this right on here and it will fit, as will it fit in Cricut Design Space, because this really isn't a print then cut, it's just a cut. And then this guy here could be added on top of that after I cut him out, just like that. So why don't I make this for you, and I'll show you at the very end, so stay tuned. Okay, check this out. This right here is why I love using digital stamps. Not only are they less expensive, not only do I not have to have all kind of space to store everything, the stamps and the die cuts, I can make them any size I want to, because check it out. This stamp came about this size. If I bought this in the store, maybe it would be this size, right? And I could only use that size. But with digital stamps, I could make it this size. But not only that, check this out. Remember what I said? I duplicated it, I flipped it, and I added actually the fence behind it. This is the size of the fence. This is the size I made it with my digital stamp. How cool is this? You can use your markers. You can use your pencils. You can embellish it with real feathers. I mean, there's so many things you could do with this. And it's so cool that it made a card, a shaped card, just like that. And I did it with my Cricut machine. But I designed it in Silhouette software. So anyway, this is what the Digi Chicks do twice a month on Sundays. They get a new digital set, a new stamp set. All 4 of them get exactly the same set. And then they start working and creating. And it's so much fun to see how different all of their creations are. So we have the Digi Club with the Digi Chicks twice a month, the 2nd Sunday and the 4th Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. So I got an idea. Why don't you just follow me or subscribe on YouTube and hit the little bell so you're alerted when we have live videos, and especially when the Digi Chicks go live. So anyway, if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Check out Dina's Digi Stamps. They're really cute. The next one that we have for the Digi Chicks is going to be from Dina's site, which is DigiDoodles Studio, DigiDoodleStudios.com. So again, if you like my videos, thumbs up please, and subscribe and hit the bell so you keep being informed of when we go live. Thanks, you guys. Bye.